Hi guys, so I truly fear for industry at the moment. You can see how frustrated they are with Boris Johnson and his government. Look, Brexiteers like Johnson, Gove, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Farage told business and a whole range of sectors that Brexit would lead to nothing but success. These were people who were completely unqualified to make such statements. On the flip side, most industry leaders, both based in the UK and abroad, said in as diplomatic language as possible that British business would suffer if the UK left the EU. Right up to the middle of last year, the Tory government were telling businesses, don't worry, Brexit will be a success. Something began to change after the point of no return, the last chance Boris Johnson had last year to extend the Brexit transition period. Once the government knew that Brexit was a runaway train, Gove was deployed to tell industry to get ready for Brexit. Well, for years being told that they had nothing to worry about, 6 months before the end of the transition period, the government were telling them to plan for both a deal and a no-deal scenario. Now the Tories have abandoned business and they're blaming them for not transitioning to a post-Brexit world years ago. Here is the Director General of UK Steel, Gareth Stace, pleading with Boris Johnson, who is currently on holiday again, to do something about this crisis.
I mean, that's what I wanted to ask you about, because there seems to be some disagreement between the Business Department and the Treasury. As far as you're concerned, from the point of view of the industry, what do you want and what has the government said to you in response?
So what I want first to happen is, we hear these reports of a spat between the Business Department and Treasury. I therefore want the Prime Minister himself to bang ministerial heads together, to step into this, take direct action himself to address the exorbitant gas and electricity prices facing us, which could damage us. Because if the Prime Minister doesn't step in, then his ambition that he talked about a lot last week of high wage economy and levelling up will actually just be in tatters, because we, the steel industry, we're in those levelling up regions of the country. We pay our workers 45% more than the average wage in those regions. So tick, tick, the steel industry is actually already delivering a high wage levelling up agenda. So come on, Prime Minister, step in now directly yourself and address this issue before it's too late.
I feel the frustration. Boris Johnson is expected to be a leader. Boris Johnson is anything but a leader. In the middle of a crisis, Boris Johnson goes AWOL. In the middle of a crisis, he goes on holiday. We've seen it with the pandemic and we're seeing it now. An energy crisis, a fuel crisis, Brexit crisis, where when the heat gets too much, Boris Johnson runs away. Now, I actually would prefer for Boris Johnson to go on holiday permanently. Abandon his position, resign. If he doesn't like doing the job, it's too stressful, he doesn't like the money, then hand it over to somebody else, somebody who's actually competent, somebody who will actually do the work. Now, the problem here seems to be that the business secretary and the Treasury, the business secretary and the Chancellor are having a disagreement about helping out industry. And it seems that the business secretary is making promises that his wallet can't maintain, because he's promising to support business. Then he goes to the Treasury and they say, we're not going to support that. So then he has to go back to business and say, actually, we're not going to help you. This is the time to help business. Now, it's interesting that the head of UK Steel here brought up the issue of levelling up, using Boris Johnson's own slogans against him. That's a good tactic. But I'm afraid at this stage, Johnson doesn't care. And we've seen in recent videos where, we've seen Brexiteers interviewed, or voters people who used to vote for the Conservative Party and still do, it seems, are still happy with what Boris Johnson is doing. They're getting used to it. People's response to this crisis is, well, we'll just have to get used to it. That's how life is. And how are people going to turn around and vote against Johnson, against the Tories, if they've become accustomed to life, post-Brexit life, being so crappy? it's frustrating. It's frustrating for me to see this because I care about Britain. I care about the British people. I want them to have a better life. I want them to get rid of these crooks and cronies, get them out of number 10, get them out of Parliament, and replace it with a government that cares about people. And you can also see the frustration in the eyes of business, where they're trying to do their job. They were lied to by Brexiteers. They were told everything would be fine. Don't worry, don't prepare, because everything will be fine, everything will be great. Sunlit Uplands, remember. And then 6 months before, they're told, now you have to prepare for a deal and a no-deal scenario. And then a few days before Christmas, we have a deal, so now prepare. This case here about the energy shortage is not directly related to that, but it demonstrates how the government don't give a crap about business. And Boris Johnson's infamous words ring true once again. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.